It says that. I don't know what we'd be live streaming to.
I don't know.
It says we're live
Facebook?
streaming, but no, we're not connected to Facebook. We're not connected to anything. So I'm not sure what we're live streaming to,
I
but
hope this is not like live.
just in case it is, don't say anything super stupid.
Oh, that's gonna be hard.
But I don't know what it would be live streaming to, but just in case. Well, welcome, exorcists, to this week's episode. Got this handsome devil back this week. This is his nap time normally, so we're so grateful that he's here with us. Catching him before his nap time, so I'll have time to edit before the end of the day. Today, we are going to be talking about the 2003 movie Dreamcatcher. And there's a very unique reason why I wanted to talk about this movie. I haven't seen it in a very long time, so we recently just rewatched it in preparation for this podcast. But it is a movie that I actually use as a point of reference for clients when I talk about brain spotting. And that's all going to make a lot more sense as I go into this episode. But I invited Ryan to come back to this podcast because I have actually done a brain spotting demonstration on him before. And so because I can't invite clients on this podcast and because I am an unreliable narrator as, a clinician and like I can tell you all day long how awesome it is and how my own experiences are. So I figured it'd be a good opportunity to bring this fellow back. And plus, our Nightmare on Elm Street episode is our most popular episode. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Yeah. So people like you.
I think they like Nightmare on Elm Street.
I think they like videos of us because that is a video of us together.
So, question: when a client comes into your office and they either seek out brain spotting or you offer brain spotting, because it's not something that people are aware of outside of
Yeah.
counseling. Do you really say, "So, have you seen the movie Dreamcatchers"?
I have used that reference for clients that I know are horror movie fans. And I got to tell y'all, for a long time, I had a flyer that said on it when I was it was a marketing flyer for myself that said that, my hobbies are horror movies. And so actually there for a while, clients would come in and say, I like horror movies too. And so that would be like a point of attraction for clients to seek me out. So I would use that reference if I knew for sure if clients and I had had that conversation about horror movies before. And so, yeah. So the answer is sometimes.
Okay, yeah,
But then I have another spiel that I use for non-horror movie folks,
okay.
which I will give later on. But I think maybe today we might start with a little bit about the movie.
However you want to work it.
Okay. Do you want to tell everybody what you think the movie's about?
Okay, so it's a Stephen King story. So of course you're gonna have boys in the story.
Yeah.
A group of boys. It's gonna be in Maine, setting Maine, Derry, and
We've been to Derry, but we've been to
we've
Derry.
been to Derry. Yeah.
By the way, we went on a New England road trip several years ago, and we made a point to go to Bangor, which is the Stephen King home base.
Yeah.
And we did a whole Stephen King tour.
It was great. It was a 3-hour tour over Bangor and passed by Stephen King's house.
Yeah.
Which is next to the governor's house.
Yeah. Which now Stephen King's house, which is super cool. It's like a spiders on the gate and stuff. It's now a museum. But we saw where the Pet Cemetery.
Yeah.
No, sorry, Doc Pet. Is it?
Yeah.
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 Where Gage was buried. And we saw the namesake for Carrie on a headstone.
I think so,
who was it? Yeah.
I vaguely remember that.
And where the flag general store where the character flag that shows up in many Stephen King stores. We could go on and
flag.
on. We go on and on, but it was 10 out of 10 recommend
Yeah.
for Stephen King or horror fans. It
Yeah.
was so much fun.
The coolest part was meeting the tour guide. You'd literally meet this dude who has a little bitty van, and it's a movie parking lot, an old one or two screen movie parking lot.
Yeah.
You meet him there, and he picks you up,
Yeah.
takes you around the town.
By the way, if you hear little scraping sounds, this is our, I know that in other podcasts you've met our greyhound who often shows up in podcasts, but this is our old man who's about 14.
Not me.
Say hey, Wally.
I'm not the old man.
This is Walter. He wants to be involved. This is my old man, Wally. He, we call it doodling because he's old man and he just paces around all day and he's just pacing around, the office right now. Hey, Walter. And so he's just doodling around right now.
So I guess the rest of the Dreamcatchers would be
Anybody. Okay.
boys, and then mischief, suspense, horror, maybe some kind of a creature. This in this case is an alien being, alien beings, and the military gets involved, and things go south, and there you have it.
That is a very general overview. So
Very general overview. Shame on you, Rotten Tomatoes,
yeah.
for a 26%,
What the hell? 28%.
28%.
Whatever. Close enough. May as well be a zero. What the
Yeah,
hell?
that's where they got tomato meter was wrong on this one. Redo. We want to recount.
We want to recount. I gotta say, I know that like people in the horror community have a big problem with Rotten Tomatoes because they generally don't get. They're kind of tough on horror movie. Critics are very hard on horror movies, and we get that. But we kind of generally do look at Rotten Tomatoes sometimes
We
to
do,
gauge
yeah,
whether or
yeah.
not if we're
It's somewhat accurate most of the time.
yeah. I mean, I know that a lot of y'all probably gonna disagree with that, but if we're just generally looking for a gauge, we will look at Rotten Tomatoes. And this time it was way wrong, in my opinion. I love this movie. There's not many things I don't like about this movie. I know the CGI is a little bit wonky, but I feel like this era of 2003 when computers are really starting to I don't know. I remember that era because I don't know how old I was, but like early teens.
Yeah.
And like GI was starting to really take off, and it was new.
I have a theory. They spent so much money on the cast,
Yes.
the actors,
Yeah.
because you should, if you haven't seen the movie, are going to be amazed by the talent of the cast, the
Well,
actors and actresses. Is there an actress in this? I think it's all guys.
mostly, yeah.
I think it's all a dude.
Well, it's a Stephen King movie.
Yeah.
But that's a good point because even if you have seen this movie and it's been a really long time, like us, I think going back and being reminded of who's in this movie. Look, we have the list pulled up in front of us.
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman, Thomas Jane, Jason Lee, Damian Lewis, Timothy Olyphant, Tom Sizemore, and Donnie Wahlberg are the adults.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of kid characters that, of course, grow up later. But those are the recognized. I was like, oh, Timothy Olyphant. I remember him in this. Like Morgan Freeman. I agree with you. So they probably invested a lot in the talent, and I don't know, probably didn't get.
We forgot to save money for the CGI
yeah,
budget.
yeah, or maybe the money didn't. I don't know, something. But yeah, it was good. It was funny. Like every moment where they battled the. Hang on, I got a note on this. The shit weasels. Every time somebody went to battle with the shit weasels, it was funny. The very first one, he's wrangling it, and then Timothy Elephant throws a beer bottle and it like blocks the shit weasel from attacking him. And then yeah, it's every scene with that was humorous. The end shit weasel goes and like actually latches onto the gun.
Yeah.
And then the guy pulls a Ryan and he can't control his gun.
That's what I was gonna say. That reminded me of me shooting a AK.
Yeah, if you heard the Dexter episode,
Yeah.
losing control of a gun. And so yeah, I had funny moments in it. The bros were like broing out hard and like having funny moments. The way they spoke to each other, fuck me Freddy was a common phrase they were using in that.
Okay. Yeah. So I gave a general overview. Now I guess if you wanna go ahead and
I guess I'll kind of start going through and talking about the psychological themes. Before we get into it, just my little disclaimer, this is for entertainment purposes only.
definitely.
This is definitely for entertainment purposes only.
Definitely.
Don't listen to anything we have to say, by all means. And yeah, so I just want to say a thank you to Manic Movie Monday. Gave this a kind of shout out. They said some really nice things on their opera episode about the podcast. It was really kind. And because of the opera episode that they just did, I went and watched opera. And that movie just made me physically uncomfortable. It was a good watch. You should watch opera.
Yeah,
You're going to
told me.
really like it.
Yeah.
It was a 1987 movie. It's definitely right down your alley. So y'all should definitely go check out Manic Movie Monday. They have 4 seasons and a huge catalog of movies to go check out. So you can choose any movies you want to listen to. It's really good. I also would like to mention another, I guess, shout out that I got this last week that was really interesting. It was this Instagram account called Black Fawn Black Fawn Distribution. I guess somehow because I tagged It Feeds last week, and they've got like almost 5,000 followers. and apparently they distribute Canadian films, horror films specifically somehow, and so they shared the podcast.
Cool.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, thanks for that, for giving it some visibility.
Distribute her podcast.
Yeah, thanks for giving the podcast a visibility outside of my immediate friends and family
Yeah,
and
my mom.
his mom. Hi, Claire. So, anyways, first of all, the movie opens. I was so pleased when the movie opens with a psychiatrist or a therapist. I'm assuming a psychiatrist because we found out later he's got a medical degree, but he's got someone on the couch and he is, doing his therapy thing. But immediately what happens is he starts pressing his client really hard. And you can tell the client starts getting uncomfortable and is like, how do you know all this stuff about me? And of course, we find out later that all the boys involved in the story are psychic, or what would you call it?
Yeah, I would say psychic communicate with each other via
Telepathic,
mind.
psychic.
Yeah,
Yeah, just like
they
and
have powers.
yeah, they have various levels of powers. And so clearly this therapist has some ability to read his mind. And then he just starts, I guess he's reading his client's mind because like the client's like, how do you know this stuff? And the client just like runs out. Then we find out later in the movie that this client ends up killing himself. And as I was even watching that scene, I was like, don't do that, therapist. That was the character of Henry, I think, who was played by Thomas Jane. And I know that is something that I am super sensitive of in my own therapy is going at a client's pace. Is if you can't push someone beyond their readiness to change. So that's definitely something I caught on like right away in the movie. I was like, whoa, this is bad therapy. And of course, I wonder how much of that he can actually help. As a therapist, I do not want psychic abilities. I feel like I'm already a little bit psychic as it is, just being emotionally attuned to people and just having this knowledge base of things that I have. I don't want any more psychic abilities. So
One thing that I wouldn't mind.
what?
I would like in the Dead Zone, the Christopher Walken.
Oh,
He like touches something and he like, has a vision. Wednesday, it's kind of psychic.
yeah, we're watching Wednesday right now.
I think I could handle it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Not me, dude. Like, that's too much of a responsibility, and I think that played out right there in the beginning of that movie. And in fact, he pulls out a gun and he just about kills himself.
Yeah. Right,
And so
right.
I think that right there tells you how much of responsibility knowing too much has. Well, anyways, he doesn't do it because his friend calls him. And so there's a lot of stuff that happens in the movie where you can tell they're psychically linked and things just kind of start lining up, in a perfect line that nobody really understands, but they can tell that something bigger is at play. One of the characters has an ability to find things.
Mhm.
That's Timothy Oliphant's character, so he can do this thing, and he can locate objects.
It,
So if I have a
he needs that gift.
well, if I have a semi psychic ability as a therapist already, Ryan has this ability already because Ryan calls it the McDaniel's ability to find things, which is no ability to find things.
She gives everything a McDaniel's pass, is
Mhm.
what I like to say. Is she's like, Ryan, where is the vegetable broth? A big carton of vegetable broth. And I'll be like, did you give it a McDaniel's look? And she's like, yes, I did. Okay, we'll give it another look. And she's like, yes, I did. So I'll get up off the couch or walk into the kitchen and it will be square in the middle of the pantry.
Bullshit.
Vegetable broth.
Bullshit.
3 boxes.
He's doing this. You're doing this and finding things and
It's
secretly.
just so easy.
Secretly. I know it.
And she complains about my vision. Hmm.
I think mine might be a little bit of I don't know, a damsel in distress. Maybe there's a part of me that wants your
Help
help.
me.
Yeah, maybe there's a part of
Rescue me from this.
Ah, the lost items. Maybe there's a part of me that wants you to help me find things. I don't know. I don't know if y'all can hear.
We have a damsel in
We
distress
have a
downstairs.
damsel in distress on cue. We can hear our
Yes,
greyhound
she
downstairs.
can't find any humans, so
Yeah,
she
she's
is
like,
whining.
"Oh no, all the humans went upstairs. What happened?" And so she might be joining us in a minute. We'll see. Anywho, and then there's a scene in the movie, and this is something I know I was kinda talking about this with Ryan a little bit last night because I was like, I don't know how I feel about this." Uh, there's a really important scene in the movie where it shows we get introduced to Duddits, and Duddits is being bullied by a group of jocks, and you can tell that Duddits is, um, maybe autistic, or that's what's assumed, and this group of ragtag, Stephen King boy gang, like, tends to show up in his movies. Yep, there's a greyhound. We figured she would show up any moment now. These the band of Stephen King boys, they basically rescue Duddits from being bullied, and after that, they kinda take Duddits under his wing. You can tell that they're best friends with Duddits for the rest of their lives. Duddits clearly gives the boys this special ability, and, clearly Duddits is gonna be instrumental in saving their
The
lives,
human race.
some of their lives and the
The
human
human
race
race, yeah,
by the end of the movie,
right. And there's
and
a slight suspicion, though, throughout the movie that
yeah.
Duddits is not human.
Yeah, yeah, there's a part in the movie where one of the boys says that Duddits is the best person they've ever known, and I don't know, there's something about that scene that was a little bit unbelievable, and mostly, I gotta say, most of the time, I have a pretty optimistic view on human nature. I think people are capable of healing and doing good things, but I don't know that I saw that group of boys stepping in to, like, battle a group of jocks who were picking on an autistic little boy, and I was like, "I don't know how I feel about how realistic that is," and I asked Ryan what he thought about that. What do you think?
Well, it's not impossible.
Yeah, it's not
It's not
impossible.
impossible. I mean, that happens. People do stick up for other people, but like you said, there is a bystander
Yeah,
effect, and a lot of people will just always assume that somebody else is going to take care of it,
yeah,
and somebody will show up and save the day. So I guess in that instance, kids walking by, somebody being bullied, especially if you're at school, hope the teacher's going to take care of it or whatever. The
yeah,
principal is going to come out.
yeah. Yeah, that's something that I think I've spoken about in other podcasts. I think the Eden Lake episode is there's this thing that bystander effect that's, a well documented thing in human nature is we all think that someone else is going to step in and take care of it, someone who's more responsible or who's got more authority, but that's usually not the case. And because everybody is thinking that, no one intervenes, and then someone ends up getting hurt. We actually were watching a documentary this morning
Yeah.
about someone who
Went missing on a
went missing
cruise.
and was distressed, and some guy was like, fuck it, won't report this." And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, everybody was doing that, and
He
then
didn't wanna
this,
get in trouble because
yeah,
he was in the Navy and he was
yeah,
somewhere he wasn't supposed to be, so he's like, "I didn't say anything."
yeah, exactly. And so when this keeps happening, then the abuses continue to be perpetrated, and so I feel like that's especially for kids, that's more the norm, and so these kids end up, do rescuing duds, and they sort of become this team of rescuers who ends up rescuing this other little girl, and their overall character, even as adults, are just really stellar. I mean, they have these moments of being I don't know, I've never been a dude, but, where they're just kinda all hanging around, talking about their
They're
dicks and their,
yeah, that's,
uh
banter. They're middle-aged men banter.
yeah, just, like, sitting around talking about their dicks and, sex and, whatever else,
Beer,
beer,
guns,
gun.
pizza.
Exactly, exactly. So there's that aspect of them, and then there's a part where, again, one of the characters at the end of the movie stands up to the American military, which is I will say this movie has 2 threats, right? You've got the alien invasion, and then you've got the American
Mm,
military led by Morgan Freeman, or at least, an aspect of the American military. Clearly, there's this other colonel, or
yeah,
is it
colonel.
general, that steps
Yeah, it
in?
is a
Yeah,
general,
like,
right. Yeah.
they specifically say it's a three-star general
Mhm.
that steps in to curve how things are going, but you have Morgan Freeman, who is this rogue who's gonna kill everybody and just prevent the spread of this whenever he's been presented with evidence to say that this infection can heal itself or people can be cured of this, but he's just like, "Fuck it, we're just gonna kill everybody." And
Mhm.
so yeah, and so one of these ragtag group of men at this point stands up to him, and so, yeah, these men just have really good character, and they're very lovey with each other, like, they tell each other they love each other, and, like, they really care about each other.
Mhm.
It was on one hand, I think because there's a little bit of part of me that's a little bit skeptical of of men. No offense, honey. I love you. You're great. But also, it was like refreshing to see in the movie, especially in 2003.
I don't know why you just said you're skeptical of men. You have a decent husband.
Yeah, well, I'm not skeptical of you, but um, you're very sweet and kind. You know that men, have you seen the study where men would choose the bear over the man every time because they're less
Wait,
threatened by men, a bear over a man?
a teddy bear?
No, like a fucking
A
grizzly bear.
grown grizzly bear?
Yes.
No, this is not. I did not participate in this study. I would not choose the bear.
This is how threatened.
Holy
That's
crap!
because you're a man, Ryan. Women are
Well,
so
women. Are you saying women would choose the bear, or
yes.
another man would choose the
Women would
bear?
choose the bear.
Oh, okay. Would choose the bear. Well, I would see you choosing any animal over a man.
Yeah, but a bear.
It could you would choose a great white shark,
The whole
a
point.
crocodile,
I would, yeah.
just because it's an animal.
Yeah, sure, but that's not the point. The point is that grizzly bears are less threatening than men out in the wild.
Okay, yeah, that's fair assessment,
Mhm.
especially in the states of Washington and Oregon. You see a man out in the middle of the woods or up in the mountains in those 2 states.
Well, in all fairness, I know where your head just went.
Yeah,
That is, you know that that's where Ted Bundy and
a lot of really bad, sketchy men kinda migrated to or
yeah, and a lot of serial killers and bad men did their
yeah.
killing. You're having a hard time accepting the fact that men are afraid of women, are you?
I guess I'm having more of a hard time accepting the fact that a woman would choose a grizzly bear over a man.
Mhm. That's because 'cause you're a man.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
it is.
that's because you're a man. You've never been you've never been subjected to the male gaze. Oh. Anyway, so we start to see this, infection, right? So we start to see, like, this red stuff, which is, like, the infection kinda start to creep in through the animals, and we meet who we later find out is Mr. Gray, and he basically and at this point, Jason Lee's character has been killed by a shit weasel or an ass
Yeah,
weasel,
yeah,
and, Mr. Gray possesses the character Jonesy,
yeah,
and well, we learn earlier in the movie that Jonesy has this system in his brain where he calls it his memory warehouse, where he has cataloged his memory files, and he's got part of his memory files locked away in secret places, and he's got part of his memory files locked away where no one can get to but him. And then he's got a furnace in his memory warehouse where he can actually burn memories. And it shows some really funny scenes where he's burning, I forget what it was. It was like porn that he looked at when he was a teenager, or like, I don't know, other funny shit
mm,
that he wanted to forget. And so the whole premise of this entire podcast is essentially based off of Jonesy's memory warehouse. And that is just epically brilliant to me. That scene where we actually see Mr. Mr. Gray possess Jonesy. We see Jonesy, the person, retreat into his memory warehouse. And then the reason Jonesy is able to survive is because, yeah, he actually goes and he locks himself into this part of his memory warehouse where only he can access. And further, Mr. Gray can dig around in Jonesy's memory warehouse files and learn everything that he needs to know to be able to manipulate his friends, get around Boston, the Boston area. But he doesn't have enough information about Duddits, which is a key to winning this whole thing for the alien invasion, which is also going to be key for the band of boys to defeat the alien race, because that's locked away in a secret warehouse. And yeah, I just thought that was so brilliant.
they call them shit weasels because if you can imagine a turd like Mr. Hanky, except an aggressive
Who is Mr. Hanky?
is it Mr. Hanky or
I don't know.
it's from South Park. It's the dookie that talks.
Oh, you're well more versed in South Park than
I
me.
think it's Mr. Hanky. Or Mr. Hanky might be the the weed that talks. But there is a dookie that talks. And the alien in the movie looks like an aggressive turd that moves very swiftly like a snake, a fast snake with thousands of teeth, like a mouth. and thousands of teeth. So a pretty terrifying alien.
Well, not just that, the way this, I guess, the aliens reproduce is through the digestive tract of the humans, and so it literally pops out of people's ass
Yeah.
in the movie.
It,
So
it gives you all the symptoms of gastritis: burping, farting, tummy ache, sweating, and severe diarrhea. So
maybe we have a
we,
shit weasel.
we might have, we might, it's not the fact that we're middle aged.
Oh my
It's
god,
definitely a shit
who's
weasel.
middle aged? Just kidding. Just kidding. Based on my family's lifespan, I'm definitely middle aged, and you too,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's 45 and I'm 37, so we're definitely both middle aged for our
Uh,
family's lifespans.
you're 37?
I'm 37.
Okay.
I ain't 38 yet.
Okay. Just checking on that. Knocking on knocking on the door.
We might have shit weasels
Yeah.
because you got some tummy issues, and I am gassy. I've been gassy as long as he's known me, so whatever. That's
Yeah. It's no news to me.
But I'm a vegetarian. I eat tons of fiber, and it's just part of my life, and I don't give a shit. So it's a biological process. Anywho, so now that we've discussed and figured out the
we,
shit
we can
weasels.
edit that too.
No, we're not. Shit weasels. Back to the memory warehouse. Okay, so Jonesy has a memory warehouse, and if you assume we all have a memory warehouse, which we do, so we all have brains, and our parts of our brains all have different functions, right? And I will save you all the psychoeducation around what the different parts of our brains do. But I will kind of go in a little bit of detail about what some of the parts of the brains do because I think it's important. So, first of all, brain spotting is a type of therapy. And if a lot of people out there, I think, have probably heard of EMDR, which is eye movement rapid desensitization, I think. I don't even know, something like that. And so EMDR got popular probably about, I don't know how long ago, as a very rapid trauma therapy, um, where you use either buzzers that you hold on to, or you can do tapping, and you hold a traumatic memory in your mind and you move your eyes, and you're able to reprocess that traumatic memory and get over it much more rapidly than traditional trauma therapy. And so brain spotting works in similar ways, but different. And so if you're familiar with EMDR, just we're going to start from there. If you're not, I'll try to make this short and get you caught up on brain spotting. And so basically the premise behind what brain spotting is where you look affects how you feel. And that's because essentially your eye position is going to correlate with the memory warehouse, essentially. So if you think about your eyes are the window to the memory warehouse, essentially where you look is going to be able to access a different set of files in your brain. And that's why where you look affects how you feel. Because say that you're looking one way, you might be accessing a set of files that are not so pleasant. You look this way, you might be accessing a set of files that are maybe more pleasant, more happy box of files. As human beings, we are all walking around in the world operating from our frontal cortex. That's the frontal part of our brain responsible for speech, decision making, being very present right now. And so this is where we're operating from. Then you've got other parts of our brain. We got the brain stem, you've got the limbic system, other parts of our brain, of our central nervous system that store memories that we don't have direct access to, and they're running sort of automatic processes. So, brain spotting bypasses the frontal cortex and it goes to that autonomic nervous system and the limbic system in a way that we can't with just talking about things. So, it accesses parts of our memory warehouse, our brain, in a way that talking can't get us there. So that is the very best I can do to explain brain spotting. How did I do?
Super good job.
Okay.
And
He's going for my wand.
brain spotting.
Yes. So I use a wand to help. Um,
Magic wand.
and so what I tell my clients is brain spotting helps use your eye position to help access your memory warehouse, essentially. And so, first of all, what I'll do here is we'll do just like a little demonstration because anybody can experience this. What I am going to do right now, and maybe you will do too, is we will think of something that is slightly uncomfortable, maybe like maybe a discomfort that we're feeling right now. We're holding our head still, and we're gonna pick something that's slightly uncomfortable. We're gonna left, right, up, and down, and we're gonna notice if it changes with our eye position. So here in the room, we're gonna use the wand, but you can also use this just with your eyes. You don't need the wand. The wand just helps focus. What do you pick, Ryan?
To focus on?
Could be a physical sensation or emotional sensation. I'm feeling a little hot right now, so I'm gonna pick the hot flush in my
Uh,
face.
Sleepy.
Okay. Well, you're gonna notice if you get more tired or less tired when we go right. And I'm gonna notice if I get more or less hot. Keeping your head still and just following with your eyes.
Not as tired. Not no, not tired. Nope.
I got more hot looking that way. What about that way?
Little more tired.
What about when you look up just with your
Mm,
eyes?
Neutral.
Oh, that made me nauseous, more tired. Down.
Same. Neutral.
So if you look that way, you were most tired.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was definitely over here. I was nauseous. So that was like hot and nauseous when I looked up here. So my spot's here for hot, and your spot's over there for
So don't look. I can't look that way. I have to stay awake another 30 minutes.
exactly. So maybe you could keep your eyes. Maybe you could even reposition your body. Actually, trade places with me. Yeah, you come over here. So that way you're looking more that way at the camera, and I'm looking more this way. So there you go. Now we've put our body in a more ideal position for this podcast. So I'm not as hot anymore, and you're less tired. And so you might have, so those are physical sensations, right? So you can do brain spotting around physical sensations. You can do it, but really the intention is to do it around emotional sensations and physical sensations. So brain spotting works with the amygdala, because again, we're bypassing the frontal cortex and we're going to other parts of the brain. So the amygdala is responsible for attaching physical sensations to emotions. And so it's my job as a therapist to help you connect a physical sensation with emotions. Do you want to talk about your case history now, Ryan? This might be a good time to talk about your case if you want to.
I guess I was
Well, well,
Jamie's.
let me first give a little preface here. Um, brain spotting is, I was told in my brain spotting training that because it's a non-traditional type of therapy and it's one of those type of therapies where I don't really do much as a therapist. I set you up on your brain spot and I kind of get out of the way and your body does its own work. And because of that, I'm allowed to be a little loosey goosey with the therapy rules. And so I did a little practice session on my husband here. And so he told me he was a little anxious about something. I said, well, let me brain spot that and see what happens. And so do you want to say more about that?
Yeah. I was a little anxious about being a group presenter and presenting material to a group of people. It was a virtual meeting, so not in person, but still some anxiety there. I'll tell you just a little bit about why the anxiety existed is because so I have a worker person, Ryan, work, serious, on task, a wealth of knowledge, and
Oh, you're talking about a part of you.
yes, a part.
Oh, you have a worker part.
Yes, a worker part. Then I have me, and there's just me, Ryan, and then I have an entertainer
Oh, yes, you do.
person.
Yes, Ryan has a very he has an entertainer.
So it's my anxiety was not so much that I'm afraid or anxious to speak in front of people. It was more along the lines of the anxiety of possibly being distracted, interrupted, off cue. And when that happens, when the worker Ryan is on task and there's some kind of distraction, sometimes the entertainer Ryan gets involved. And the entertainer Ryan scares me sometimes because you never know Ryan, the person, never knows what he's going to say sometimes. So the fear, I guess, was that I would get off task. And that's always kind of been my fear for presenting is oh shit, what is that entertainer dude going to come up and say? Hopefully we can just stay on task, don't get distracted, and we just, power through it. And we won't have to worry about the entertainer showing up and doing a dance.
You are so sexy right now.
So she's my therapist.
We have never talked about this before. You're introducing me to your parts right now. That is so sexy.
So yeah, that was the anxiety. It was just because there's somebody you don't want to show up, and it's not entertainer guy is not a terrible person. It's just he's he's chatty,
He's got a purpose. He's funny.
tells jokes, and you know talks with his hands a lot.
I think he's here right now.
Yeah. so yeah, we did brain spotting to relieve the anxiety of me being a group presenter.
What do you remember about where you started with your anxiety and where you ended?
I kind of remember starting where I was not severely anxious, but it was kind of like mildly anxious because I remember you kept asking that question, the same like, where are you when you
Mhm.
think about presenting to a group? Where are you? Where are you? So as we went and progressed through the the session, it got less and less and less and less and less and less and less.
Mhm.
So until there was none.
There was none. And so what about the day you had to show up and be a group leader?
I was pretty chill, honestly. I was pretty chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty relaxed.
Did you think I mean, honestly, we didn't talk about this. I mean, y'all don't have to believe us, but I know that, like, anytime I hear a success story behind brain spotting, I've experienced my own radical successes with brain spotting because those have been listening to the podcast know that I have a lot of suspicion around anybody who walks around saying they're an expert or anything that says that it's a rapid healing. I don't believe that. But and so I had so much suspicion going into brain spotting training, hearing people's testimonials. I'm like, this is bullshit. And then I experienced it for myself and had some radical shifts and things. And I was like, okay, I'm a believer. And I did it to Ryan. And for him to tell me this stuff from going to anxious to no big deal, I'm like, holy shit. And now that I've been doing it with clients for a while, they're coming back in and telling me they'll start at um well, let me just take a pause right there and preface something. Another thing I really like about brain spotting is there's this thing involved called SUDS. It's called subjective units of distress. And because I'm a numbers girl,
You know that.
this scratches an itch on my left brain that's so good. And so I get to assign numbers to this. And it is subjective, so it's not perfect, but it's just really just like anyone's first instinct, right? So subjective unit of distress. Number 10 on the subjective units of distress scale, for example, is I'm dying, level of panic attack, I can't breathe, like this is the worst possible thing that could ever happen. A 5, for example, like in the middle would be something like sweaty palms, shallow breath, just kind of just anxious. 0 is like no feelings, like I have no feelings about it. 1 would be a little bit tense, but okay. And so that's basically what a SUD scale is. And for Ryan, I actually have his report here because I have
Oh
to.
gosh, I didn't even notice that.
I know. So because I've been trained because I've done level 1 brain spotting training to be fully certified. I have to do level 1, level 2. Have to have 50 practice sessions. I've got like 25. I'm halfway there, and I have to have so many consultation hours. So Ryan started at an 8 on the SUD scale, which corresponds to feeling full-blown anxiety attack.
Okay.
It's subjective. I mean, you
Okay.
picked an 8,
Yeah.
and then you ended at a 0 or a 1. And this was one session. We probably sat doing brain spotting for 30 minutes.
Mhm.
So speaks for itself. Speaks for itself. I'm not trying to sell y'all on brain spotting. It's not like I'm going to get y'all. It's not like y'all can't be my clients anyway. And so
Yeah.
I'm just saying this shit's powerful. And so I have clients that are coming into session now starting at like 8, 9, or 10. They leave session at like 3, 2, 1, 0, and then they'll come back the next week and they'll say, hey, this thing that's bothered me for my entire life, didn't even think about it this week for the first time in my life. And it just blows my fucking mind, dude. It blows my mind. So that's on one hand. On the other hand, it is as you can imagine, doing that sort of like deep brain internal work is quite exhausting. And so I do find that there is sort of like a plateau that we get to. It can be pretty exhausting, do a lot of change that fast, but it is super powerful. So, yeah, my own personal experience that I've had is around, well, I'll say when I did training and I did some brain spotting, a couple just little minor things. I had some blocks around like some tasks I just was refusing to do. Um, and I did brain spotting. I just did them like it was no big deal. Like immediately after, like on a break, I like got on the phone and called somebody that I was dreading calling and did it like it was nothing. Yep. And then I did a brain spotting session in a consultation group a couple weeks ago around eating. And I gotta say, my eating habits have the quantity of eating, my snacking has almost completely stopped. The way that like I feel about my eating habits has completely shifted. It has been a radical change for me. That's been a big deal for me. So yeah, brain spotting is a very powerful tool. There you go. It really is magic.
This is the best part about it.
Yes, it is.
The wine.
And actually, I have different ones. I have different colors of these, and so like I'll ask people like what color they want, and I'll swap out the different tips and stuff. Yeah, and so now we can go in and get those brain files. And it's somatic. Ryan mentioned asking the questions, and so it's my job as a therapist. I don't really do anything after I get someone set up on their brain spot. It's my job to just ask, like, what are you noticing in your body to help again the amygdala to help the mind body make that connection between the physical and the mental to basically help the body digest those feelings and the emotions to be able to move through it. And it's amazing what happens. I mean, the feeling might start in one place, it'll shift all around until eventually it's gone by the end of a session. And sometimes really spiritual interesting things happen. Guides will come visit or, ancestors will come and visit to help it unlocks some really interesting things, that's for sure. So, yeah, it's brain spotting.
All right, thank you for that. That was wonderful. So, are we getting back to the movie?
Yeah, let's get back to the movie. Let's see what I got on my notes about the movie. So, speaking of parts work, it's interesting because I just love that you brought up your parts. That was so fun. I love parts work. There was a part of the movie where Mr. Gray and Jonesy were kind of switching back and forth. And
Oh, right.
yeah, did you see that where he was on the snowmobile and he was like, Jonesy, blah,
He had a
blah.
he had like a British accent
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for Mr. Gray,
Yes.
and then he was just himself
Yeah,
with
exactly.
Jones. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I know that is not what this movie was like. He was literally possessed by an alien, but you could definitely see that as like almost like switching back and forth between parts or even an unattached burden because it was something that like got in him
Mhm.
and possessed him. Well, let's just go for a second because where I was kind of going with my brain is an analogy for dissociative identity disorder, and so which used to be called multiple personality disorder, which is not a thing anymore. It's dissociative identity disorder. And I'm probably going to do a lot more podcasts about this because it's something I'm very interested in. But dissociative identity disorder happens when someone experiences a lot of trauma and they basically hide parts of themselves away. And so, this whole part of Jonesy's memory warehouse, where he hides not necessarily parts of himself away, but like information about himself away, and he's able to go hide there while he's experiencing the trauma of being possessed by Mr. Gray, I think is an interesting analogy for DID because it's happening in real time. It's almost like DID is happening in real time, and he's switching back and forth between his Mr. Gray persona and then his the part of him the part of himself that he's having to hide away during the rest of the movie. And so that's a really good visual representation of what DID actually is, experiencing trauma and having to hide part of yourself away to protect yourself from the trauma in a literally hidden room in your brain.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really I was like, "Ooh, I can work that in."
Yeah, so in the movie, it's his file, his mind was like a file library, and he was on the 3rd floor, and he was trying to, like, procure everything that he had collected from debts,
Yep.
and it was kinda a little bit comical to me that he had hand truck,
Yeah.
and he had a bunch of files, and he knew that this turd monster alien was going through the library aisles trying to find him, sniff him out, because the monster knew that he was trying to run away with those files. So the monster was just going through aisle at the aisle trying to find Jonesy, and he's hand trucking, like running with the hand truck, then going down to the next floor and trying to hide. And then he finally hid in a secure
Yeah.
room.
Yeah.
But it was just funny
It was
to
funny.
me. Yeah.
It was hilarious, but also, God, it's just brilliant. Like, it tickles my therapist brain so much because it just such a good representation of how the psyche works and keeps us protected. It's, really amazing. I loved it so much. So there's parts of the movie I didn't really understand, and so I feel like almost the entire military part of the movie could have been
Just taken out
eliminated.
completely.
Yeah, because even just, like, battling the alien and how Duddits had set them up to be able to battle the alien in ways that they didn't even understand. Sure, I realize that the American military had set up this secondary foe, but I feel like almost that wasn't even really needed. There's a scene where the military is going in to bomb the ship,
Yeah.
and the aliens are sending them psychic messages of like, "Oh, no, don't hurt us." And then the ship self-destructs. Like, I didn't understand that scene at all. Did you? What did you take away from that?
Well, as Americans, we like to put military in movies.
True.
We like to write military in books,
Mm.
and one of the scenes, there's bears and, like, women apparently love bears. So there's bears running out of the woods, deer running out of the woods, rabbits. So there's just animals clearing the woods, in like just a mass exodus. And of course, there's all these other people that live in the community. They're all infected too. So at some point in the movie, you're just kind of caught up in the middle of the story of these characters that kind of stumble into something that's already transpiring. You know, the military has already taken over. We don't know what happened and how it happened.
Mm.
It happened, and these main characters, they're just kind of
Yeah.
there. But
Show up at the wrong
they
place, wrong
show up
time.
wrong place, wrong time,
Yeah.
and somebody has to save the world.
Or right place, right time. I mean,
Yeah,
Duddits
right,
clearly set them up for this.
exactly.
So, yeah, I guess. And then, you do find out from the military that they've been fighting aliens for a long time. It's no secret.
25 years.
And I don't know, I guess, but you know how Stephen King be like in long movies. The movie was kind of long. Was it 2.5 hours or
It
something?
was a 2 hour runtime
Yeah.
almost. Yeah,
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I guess it served some purpose, but I guess I'm making the case that you could have just taken all that
probably
hour
could
out,
have.
and
Yeah,
it might have been a little better movie. I don't know. Whatever. It was fine. So anywho,
that's why they got the 75% slash, is because they put the military in
it
the
didn't
movie.
deserve that big of a slash. Anywho, they're getting ready to go get Duddits. He's warned the military guy that they're on the wrong path, and so they're activating two plans to go save the world. One of my favorite parts of the movie, I just cracked up so much, is when he used the military guy's gun to call Jonesy
Yeah,
in his head, just, like, using a random object
yeah.
to telepathically contact Jonesy in Mr. Gray's head. That was fucking hilarious. Using this just, like, random object, it was so good. That was such a funny Stephen King thing. So, yeah, so the whole premise of the movie is Duddits lets them know that if Mr. Gray is trying to take a worm to the Boston drinking water supply,
Hmm.
if that one worm gets into the drinking water supply, it's gonna kill the world. It's gonna infect the world, I guess, and so they gotta stop this. So, Duddit shows up, gets into a battle with Mr. Gray. Duddits gets stabbed. Duddits says, "I Duddits!" And then the big reveal happens. Duddits was an alien this whole time, defeats Mr. Gray. The worm gets stamped out at the 11th hour, and the movie just ends.
And that's it.
It was so good.
And the credits roll, and boom, that's what ending. What are your thoughts on the ending? Just ending
I
like
loved
like
it.
it a little turd gets squashed, and then credits.
Personally, I loved it. I loved the movie, because it's like, all right, that's it. That's what we set out to do. We didn't need anything else, in my
You're
opinion.
right. I guess we didn't need anything else. We figured out that it was an alien, and that's
Yeah.
what was suspected all along.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I do kind of think that that's why some people did not give them as good of a review. The ending wasn't glorified and fantasized as much as some other movies are.
Yeah.
It just kind of it squashes as fast as the bugs. It gets
Yeah.
squashed.
Well, the movie was already 2.5 hours, so I don't know.
Yes, we need to cut this.
I just don't know what else you needed. There was the
Yeah,
post.
there's closure. I mean, you get the
Yeah.
closure
I
and
think it
everything.
came full circle.
Yeah,
Most Stephen King movies don't end so cleanly
right. Yeah, yeah,
and, like, assuredly, and
yeah,
so I gotta say for a Stephen King movie, it was done.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I never read the book. I don't know if that's different from the ending of the book,
yeah.
but I also gotta say there's another analogy I just wanted to suss out a little bit. Duddits being a kid that was we'll just call Duddits autistic. First of all, we should just always be nice to everybody, no matter what their presentation is, or no matter what it is about them. You should always be nice to everybody. So good job, kids in the movie. And also, you never know who is an alien sent to this planet to save the world. So,
Good. Yeah, good point.
yep.
Good point.
Yet another good reason to be nice and kind to everybody.
Good point. Well, I just got finished watching Creature season 4, and so I finished the series completely. And if you watch I guess it's the ninth or 10th episode, maybe the very last episode of the fourth season, you learn that from God there are no aliens. Yes,
Oh no.
Preacher is a great series.
Oh
Like
no.
highly recommend it. But
Oh, I kind of like the idea that we don't
we don't
know.
live. We don't know. We don't. I mean,
But preacher
we-
says there's no
preachers
aliens.
preach. No, God in the
Oh,
preacher
yeah.
show says that there are no aliens
But
out
God's kind of
there.
a deadbeat, and preacher
He's
isn't
just
he?
a mean. He's not a very, you know, he's not a very loving, kind God in
Mhm.
the show. He's more of like he's. I don't want to spoil it. People have to
That's
watch the
true. That's
show.
true. Don't
Yeah.
spoil it. Don't spoil it. Well, there's also another really cool aspect in the movie.
Oh, well, there
I
we go.
feel so bad.
Linda Ronstadt.
I will say this was not the version that they played in the movie, but this was Ron and I's preferred version. But this was a song. Was this a song that one of the kids
Yeah.
sang to Duddits to calm them down?
Yeah, as he was getting bullied in the beginning of the movie, he was just pretty much in an all-out panic, anxiety attack. And after the bullies were ran off, the kids, the good kids, wanted to calm Dennis down, and one of the kids sang the song to him and kind of patted him on the head while they tried to kind of calm him down. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
that was a very sweet moment.
it was a very sweet moment. And Jonesy said that there was still room in his memory files for the lyrics to Blue Bayou, that would never get pushed out. I gotta say that I told Ryan this, I'll tell y'all too, that my dad, well, me and Ryan preferred this version of Blue Bayou than the one that they played in the movie. But my dad was a huge Linda Ronstadt fan, and my dad passed away earlier this year. And the last time I saw my dad, I really just, he was in the hospital, and I really just wanted him to be, I don't know, he was not really all that present, but I really just he was kind of present, and I know how much he loved music, and so I just sat in the hospital room with him and played him his favorite music, and this is one of the songs, and so
Yeah,
this was
we have his what he has 3 Linda Ronstadt
yeah, his record collection.
records.
And so when I heard the song on the movie, I was like, oh, this song has a extra special meaning. So I guess is there anything else you have to say about the movie?
No, I think we covered it. That was a good podcast
Feels
episode.
feels like it was a good episode too.
Yeah.
What demons have you exercised in talking about this movie or doing this podcast?
I think I've exercised through Brainspotting, I've exercised the demon of anxiety, group, social, presentations, speeches, all that stuff. Yeah, exercise the demon of not being, I guess, as anxious that the entertainer in me will come out.
Mhm. Okay. Entertainer has a time and a place,
Yes, yeah.
and not when, but, I bet that your coworkers like when the entertainer come out, but just when it's more intentional.
Well, exactly. When it's more intentional, sometimes, and this has happened before, and that's why I guess there's a certain level of anxiety. Is when an entertainer, if you ever watch movies about people go out on stage and then there's a spotlight on their face and then they just stand there, and then so your mind resets, so now you have to switch from worker to entertainer, and then there's that lag, and then all of a sudden entertainer takes over and you're like, oh my god, the worker's like running down the office, the cubicle aisles, and
That's funny. Let's see. What demon have I exercised? What is the opposite of confident?
unsure.
Yeah. I was a little unsure about our ability to do this podcast today because of what happened last week, to be honest.
Yeah.
We weren't working so well as a team last week.
Yeah, we were doing well for the first like 15 minutes, and then we just kind of hit a wall.
Yeah.
So
I was a little unsure, but I'm feeling very so I've exercised a demon of uncertainty and feel a lot more confident in our team ability. And I feel very proud of you and very honored that you shared some of your parts with me
sounds
today via this podcast. I feel very, very honored.
good. I'm glad to.
Very proud of you.
Thank you.
You're like the boys in the show, being very in touch with your feelings and being very sweet.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for having me
Okay.
again.
Okay, bye.